KARK-4 News at 6.
I have to go talk to a headstone. No, it's not about the money.
The family of a man killed in an accident at Arkansas Nuclear One, frustrated by a drawn-out legal process they fear puts other lives at risk. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Ketz.
Hello, good evening. I'm Bob Clausen. 24-year-old Wade Walters died on Easter Sunday 2013 after a crane collapsed, dropping a 500-ton piece of equipment at Entergy's Nuclear One plant at Russellville. Now, Walters' family is fighting the company in court, wanting to take responsibility for this.
That's right. KARK-4's Marcy Manley sat down with the family for the very first time today. Marcy, some people might ask what the family expects to accomplish with this lawsuit.
And that was a question I asked. They say they know it won't offer any closure for losing a loved one, but they do think it will force Entergy and the other companies involved to make the safety changes needed to keep a loss of life from happening again.
Would the men have an advantage on the rope? Because
For those closest to Wade Walters,
he would be 26 if he were still on Earth.
the closest they can get now is mementos.
When Wade was gone, I took a couple of his duck decoys and put them in the pond.
And memories.
My daughter got married with a picture of her brother. A picture of her brother. You can't make up for that.
Wade, an iron worker at Arkansas Nuclear One in Russellville, died on Easter Sunday in 2013, killed when a million-pound piece of equipment snapped a hoisting crane and sent giant steel beams crashing down on top of him.
There's people in this world that I would like to ask, would you do things different if it was your son?
8 others were injured, and OSHA fined the companies involved nearly $200,000 for about 30 violations between them.
I think you would call that a slap on the wrist.
But Wade's family wants accountability they believe can only be found in court, so they filed suit in July of 2013.
There's other people that's in danger it'll just be, swept under the rug.
Safety has to come before money.
But so far, it's stalled, with Entergy appealing, the battle now going on for nearly as long as Wade has been gone.
People talk about closure and then talk about time heals all wounds. It hadn't got much easier.
For a family who lost the boy they say has always been a man, who loved duck hunting and steer roping and expected only the best from himself, the money is just the way they can make the companies take safety and lives seriously.
I want those men to come out alive, and that's the best thing I can do for Wade.
Now, a Polk County Circuit judge ruled the family could include Entergy as a defendant, but the company appealed to the Arkansas Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has referred it to the workers' compensation judge. Wade's family hopes to have that hearing in the next few months. Entergy declined to comment on the case because it's ongoing litigation. Back to you.
All right, Marcy, thanks very much. 4 companies were cited by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration in September 2013 following that accident. Precision Surveillance Corporation, Entergy, Big E Crane, and Rigging and Siemens Power Generation had 26 serious violations between them. Those included lack of effective communication and failure to comply with crane-related hazards. Serious violations are when there's a substantial risk of death or serious injury an employer knew about or should have been aware of.
And new today, a judge rescinds permission for boxer Jermaine Taylor to attend church on Sundays. This all comes after the judge in the case approved it just Monday. Taylor could leave from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as long as he wore an ankle monitor. Taylor's currently being held in a drug treatment facility. There's no word on why permission was taken back.
A Hot Spring County woman charged with careless driving for an accident that injured a young boy. KARK-4's Drew Petchamo joining us now live in the studio with more on this. Hey, Drew, what's the update?
Well, Bob, this was a story we first brought you in October of last year. Now the driver's been charged for that crash that seriously injured a 6-year-old. Take a look. When we were there last year, the boy's father was carrying his son into their home after leaving the hospital. The boy's bike left mangled after a crash along Gifford Road in Malvern. According to an arrest warrant, the 37-year-old Misty Bailey did not have time to react when the boy rode his bike into the street. The report says impact tossed the boy off the bike and he was struck by a side mirror of the car. Now, we weren't able to get in contact with the father this afternoon, but when we did the story back in October, the father said his son may have permanent nerve damage. Again, the driver today charged with careless driving. Ashley?
All right, Drew, thanks very much for that update. And police say a man was shot in the ankle while walking past a Central Arkansas apartment complex. According to Little Rock police, DeAndre Jackson was walking in front of the Trinity Apartments when he was shot by someone. Now, Jackson reports he collapsed just in front of the Church's Chicken there on John Barrel Road in Canis. It's near there. He was rushed to the hospital. No word yet on a suspect.
Because money matters, groundbreaking on an over 420,000 square foot building in North Little Rock today. Benny Keith, a food processing company, is opening a distribution facility on Highway 70 East near Interstate 440. The $70 million facility will be a LEED certified silver building and will recycle up to 75% of the construction waste generated.
You know, the fact that we can retain the 200+ employees here, the fact that we can create 70 new jobs here, that is significant for Arkansas.
Construction is scheduled to start July 2015. Officials hope it'll be completed spring of 2017.
Well, the battle over who gets to carry you from place to place heating up in the capital city. KARK-4 photojournalist Peyton Johnson takes a ride with people using Yellow Cab and Uber, seeing which one could save you money.
If you got to take a ride and you don't want to drive, do you opt for Uber or do you take a taxi?
I've never heard of Uber, but I take a taxi a lot. It's safer too.
I'm your Uber driver.
Go get Uber right now.
Because it's something new.
I think Uber is a really smart way to go. It's typically cheaper than other sources in Little Rock.
And then Uber always giving out good coupons and like $15 like off. So it's real cool. It's cheap.
What's Uber?
I'm sorry, I'm 50 years old. I take a taxi.
Accommodate them the best way that we can. We want to ask them what routes they want us to take.
Taxi.
Why is that?
Because that's something I've ever done. Usually a cab is a lot quicker, and if it's not too far in the Little Rock area, it's pretty cheap.
Right now, we have an app that, just like Uber has,
there's no calling the cab company 5 times and saying, where are you at? Are you on your way? Because from the very beginning, you see where the Uber is, and then you track it the entire way that it comes to you.
Taking a trip, you don't want to drive. Taxi or Uber?
Taxi.
I take a taxi a lot.
It's real cool, so I use Uber.
Uber is too new for me. My kids do Uber.
Well, it seems like Yellow Cab wins out thanks to just sheer tradition. Uber is still very new on the scene here in Little Rock.
The Arkansas Department of Human Services falling victim to someone stealing wheels off one of their cars. Not once, but twice. You can see this picture here. That's how workers found the car 2 weeks ago in their lot in downtown Little Rock. Up on blocks, 2 wheels were gone. DHS ordered more, but before they arrived, the other 2 wheels were stolen. Little Rock police are investigating.
People in Sherwood will have to go to another farmers market this year. The city announces it's canceling the one that's scheduled to start in May. But there is some good news. The Parks and Recreation Department is currently in the drawing phase of a new permanent location. Now, once construction of the 6,000 square foot site plan is finished next year, vendors can then move on to the Sherwood Forest property. The Parks and Rec says that the old farmers market was successful at first, but because of the hot temperatures that time of year in that location, it caused vendors' fruits and veggies to spoil.
The owner of a Little Rock business working to raise money to help her partners in an earthquake-devastated country. Julie West made her first trip to Nepal as a graduate student at the Clinton School. She eventually started a company working with women there to produce and export authentic scarves and bags. West says it's a socially responsible business that liberates the women. But many of her friends have been devastated by the earthquake that struck last weekend.
Everyone that works with me, for me, has been sleeping in tents in the fields.
West started a GoFundMe campaign to raise money to help women that she works with. She's already brought in $15,000 and says the money will go to rebuilding homes and other necessities.
Still to come, we remember the one-of-a-kind type guy that is Bill Valentine, a treasure of a man that you'll only find in Arkansas.
And it was a chilly start to the day across the state. Here in the capital city, 50 is where we started our Thursday, but we climbed all the way up to 81. Today marks 2 days in a row of nice weather. Will we make it 3, 4, 5? Find out in just a couple minutes.
From the station that brings you local news that matters, this is KARK 4 News at 6 in high definition. With Bob Clausen, Ashley Katz, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, and Aaron Peters with your Razorback Nation report.